I have ranked many things in Kenshi, from weapons to unique recruits to bosses to zones to cities, all kinds of things. But today, as it was suggested on the last stream by you guys, we are ranking prosthetics in Kenshi. So, there's not that many different ones in just basic vanilla game, and that's what we're going to be ranking. We're not thinking about any extra mods or anything like that. We're just going whatever is available to everyone when playing a vanilla game. Now, all of these all of these limbs, I'll be ranking based on their masterwork grade. So, you know, they're all equal in that regard. And as I said, just base vanilla stuff. So, let's start getting in there. Now, keep in mind, you can craft all of these with the correct research. So everybody can make these, or you can buy them from certain robotic shops, which is there's not that many around. Now, compared to, let's say, armor or weapons, these take longer to craft generally because you need so many different moving parts to be able to craft them. So you usually want multiple robotic benches and multiple people working on them to craft your best limbs. So actually getting to them and crafting the best masterwork ones is gonna take some time, but in the end it's worth it because Kenshi is a game, pretty much unique game in that regard, where you do want to lose your limbs because when you do, you can upgrade them to become better. Now, enough foreplay, let's get started. First of all, we have economy arms. You can have a left one, you can have a right one. Usually you can buy them at Hivers. These ones, you know, they're not very good. They're just not very good. These are the last resort arms is what I'm gonna name them. Really the last resort ones, because even at their masterwork they have only 95 HP, which is lower than most races. So you are downgrading your HP of the arms. Now, I don't think HP is that important on robotic limbs, especially on arms, because you can have armor covering them, right? But still, you're kind of downgrading them. And besides, even at masterwork rate, everything, all the stats are having a minus in front of them. So you're losing your dexterity, you're losing your crossbow skill, you're losing your thieving and all that such. I think dexterity is the biggest issue over here because you're gonna use it in combat. If your man is the crossbowman user, then of course that lockpicking in theory doesn't really matter that much because you can, you know, fix that with other things. But I still think this is a last resort arm. It goes into F tier. And guess what? When it comes to economy legs, we can also call them the last resort legs. Once again, they only have 95 HP at masterwork rate, so that means, you know, the lower they are, the even less they'll have. And the biggest issue over here is not the HP, it's the fact that even at masterwork grade, they still lose their athletic bonus, right? You still have minus 14% athletics, so you put them on, you'll be slower than you were previously when you were walking on your own 2 feet, which is a downgrade, so that's all there is. Of course, pretty much all of the limbs have a malus to swimming as well, but you know, all of them have that. We're just gonna ignore this because how many times do you actually swim in Kenshi? I mean, you do swim sometimes, but it's not at all as important over here for this ranking. Unfortunately, you know, it's still better than crawling on the ground, but last resort leg goes into F tier. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the industrial lifter arms. Now, strength might be one of those skills that is one of the toughest to level beyond like 80, like that 80 to 100. It's gonna take you so long to actually do that. Those extra 23% strength you get from masterwork grade of these, it's a big bonus, right? Because you get a bit over 80 and you put those bad boys on, just one is enough and you'll get to 100. Right? Probably my maths are wrong there, but you know, you get the idea. They're pretty decent. Also, they have 195 HP, which is, you know, it doesn't quite reach the skeleton, the normal skeleton levels, but for any fleshy race, which are also more likely to lose their limbs, this is a great boost, especially, you know, as well as an HP. But as I said before, it's not as important. Sure, you lose some lockpicking and thievery skills. Once again, not at all that important in the grand scheme of things. I think the strength bonus is amazing. And you know me, the way I like to play my characters, most of them, if they are just a general character, they'll get a right arm that is Industrial Lifter because of the extra HP on the right arm. So that means, you know, they're less likely to get that arm disabled, so they can't really fight. And they'll have a strength bonus for that. And then they'll get the dexterity boosting arm on their left side, which usually has less HP, but they're gonna have the extra dex boost. So that all equals out in that regard. That's how I like to play it. But very often, you know, you have like a strength user with a heavy weapon, you might want two of these. Anyway, Industrial Lifters S tier in my opinion. Next on the list, we have the Klr Arms. Now, this is probably where you're gonna, or you might, some of you might disagree with me, right? Because these ones gives a boost, 10% boost to strength and dex, plus the normal malices to thievery, lockpicking, and swim and all that such. But those two, right? It's 10% for both. So if you have two of these arms, in the end you have 20% for both of those, you know, for dexterity and strength, which is, as I was talking about earlier, for these industrial lifters, right, is what I like to do. But I don't actually give them the Klr Arms, because if you give them the Klr Arms, they lose like 5% roughly for both of those. But they gain a lot of HP, like 245 HP on each of these. So this is really something that you have to decide on your own. Do you want the extra 5% strength and dexterity? Or do you want to get like pretty much 50 HP on the Industrial Lifter arm and like 70 HP on, let's say, Thieves Arm here? Or Skeleton's Arm. It's Skeleton's Arm. Thieves Arms can only be right. Never mind. So that is up to you to decide. In my opinion, I prefer the extra percentage over the HP, but it is pretty small. I will still go with my own opinion over here, and I'll put the Klrs into A tier, so below the single, you know, 25, 23% for strength over here. I'll put them into A tier because I do not value the HP as much, but this is up to you to decide. This is just my opinion. Next, we have the Klr Legs. Now, these ones are unique that they don't have any bonuses. They don't have bonuses to their athletics, as you know, most of the other legs do. They have the normal swim, speed, malices, and stealth as well, which we once again don't really care that much about, because you can, you know, always. Those are let's get to this. They are situational, right? Stealth, theory, lockpicking are very situational. Usually you don't really need or want your whole squad to have any of those skills. If you're playing a thief character, then sure, you'll go and equip him with that. Or you're gonna have them in your backpack for when you need to thieve, do some thievery and stealing, but when you don't, you'll just be using some other limbs. So that's why I'm not regarding them as important over here as with like strength and dexterity and other stuff. So let's get back to it. So the Klr Leg, I think because of the huge boost to HP, you have 295 HP on these at Masterwork, right? This is giant. It's much bigger than any of the skeletons also get, at least in vanilla. And it's a big boost. Now, why is this more important for legs than for arms? Because most arms will still get big coverage from their chest gear, right? Unless you're using some Holy Nation stuff that doesn't really have protection for arms. But let's say you have Samurai arm or anything like that, you know, armor that covers arms, it's gonna give them bonus. Now, for legs, you still have pants that give coverage to legs, but you lose the ability to wear boots, which also boost your coverage for your legs. So you lose that, which means more HP here means more than it does on arms, because you'll be basically losing one gear slot, right? And that's why I think more HP here is important. Athletics, it's a big deal, especially early on, especially on your characters that you might want to do like hit and run tactics, right? But when you go like late game in full combat and all that such, I think these legs are the best. So I'm gonna put them into S tier. Next we have Thieves Arm. This one is unique because it can only go as a right arm, right? It can only be a right arm, there's no left Thieves Arms, and that's probably so you don't boost this thing boosts lockpicking in theory by 25%, so you can't really boost it too much if you had two of these arms, right? That is at least my thinking. So, this bad boy gives you a very nice boost to dexterity as well, plus 20%, which is great. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, you would rather have, because these can only be right-handed, right? You would rather have a right arm that boosts your strength and gives you more HP, and then your left arm that boosts your dex and gives you, you know, in that regard, less HP. So Thieves Arm would never really be used for dex. It will be used for thievery and lockpicking if you go in that direction, especially because it has less HP at 145 than other right arm options that you would have out there. So I think these are very situational. If you, once again, are really playing the lockpicking god and want to go with that, then you might use it, but in my opinion, this is C tier. Next, we go to Skeleton Arms. So these ones are the ones that boost your dexterity by 25%. You lose some lockpicking and thievery, and you lose your swimming skills, and that's okay. They do have 170 HP, so as I said, less than the strength ones, but they're perfect for the left arm in that regard if you go half-half, right? Half strength, half dex, if you don't just go full strength. You rarely go full dex, even if you have just like a katana user, full dex user, you still want strength in them, you know, for other things. Like if you just want to carry a person out of a battlefield or carry something in your backpack, you still want some strength in them. So these Skeleton Arms are great options, in my opinion, for a left arm. Combined with those and the extra 25% dex, so you get 5% on using two of these and you get 5% on one of these, in my opinion is a big bonus. So these ones also go into S tier, and you know, just in vanilla I would be using these three arms, or these two arms and two of these legs, if I were to make a perfect soldier, or if I were making a perfect like strength user, I'd use like two of these and two of these. So S tier for the Skeleton Arm as well. Next we have the counterpart to Skeleton Arms, that is the Skeleton Legs. Now these bad boys have 170 HP as well. Not that much for a leg, but still, you know, like second most HP for a leg. They do have a decent bonus of health points on normal legs, like, you know, fleshy legs that your people would have. And, you know, they're a decent option. They don't have anything too amazing going for them. They only have plus 10% athletic boost at the max grade level. So, you know, and when they're masterwork. So these bad boys can be useful. I think these are just the general ones. When you don't have any other option, that's your go-to. Of course, you'd never downgrade to F tier here, but that is your go-to leg, unless you can make the better S tier ones, right? So in my opinion, the skeleton ones, you know, they're gonna be B tier. They're like really the middle of the pack. You get some HP, you get a bit of a boost from athletics, but they're nothing amazing, like really the middle of the pack. So when we go to the next ones, these are the Scout Legs. Scout Legs have less HP. They have 145 HP compared to 170 from the Skeleton Legs. But they, at Masterwork grade, they do have plus 38% bonus to athletics, which means two of these are gonna make you really fast. Like really fast. In my opinion, that is better than Skeleton Legs, because Skeleton Legs are not amazing at HP and they are not amazing at athletics, right? These ones, the Klr Legs, are amazing when it comes to HP. They don't have any bonuses to athletics. And then the Scout Legs are not really something special when it comes to HP, because they just have a bit of a boost for flashy races. But they're amazing when it comes to athletics, because sometimes you want people that can scout for you, hence their name Scout Legs. You know, you're gonna be sending out there, they're gonna be really running fast. You can use them like for trading missions, you know, just one man with these two legs and maybe some strength arms so they are strong, can be the one-man trader. maybe even carry a bull on their arm and, you know, fill the inventory of the bull and just go at it. And they'll be to a next town in like a blink of an eye. They're amazing. Also, they're pretty good for, let's say, your range characters, which you want to keep out of the fray, right? And you might want to, you know, kite enemies with these, so they will always follow you. They'll never be able to catch you, just kite and shoot. I know some people, I don't do this personally, use outside medics as well. People that don't send into battle, and they're just there on the side of the battle to later on come in and heal people. Legs like these would be perfect for those medics as well. So in my opinion, these are A tier. Next on the list, we have Steady Arms. These are unique in their regard that they are really meant for crossbow users. They can only be left, while the Thieves Arms can only be right. These ones can only be left. They boost your crossbow skill by 25%, which is actually pretty damn strong, you know, because the higher your crossbow skills, well, the better, because you're gonna be more precise, you'll do more damage, all that kind of stuff that goes into crossbow stuff. Basically more damage, you know. And none other offers that. So that gives them a really unique thing. They have 145 HP as well, so nothing too special in that. And they go into a left slot, so they will still give you dex. And if you are really using ranged people, which, you know, most people use a couple, or some people don't use any, but you never really have a full squad of just rangers. And then they go fight in melee as well. So these ones might be for ranged people, and you can only use them as a left arm. This gives them a boost to dexterity as well. Sure, you lose 5% on like skeleton arms, but you get 25% for crossbows, which I think is much better payoff than what you have here with 20% dex, but then 25% to lockpick in theory, which you rarely use, while crossbows can be used a lot in combat and should be used a lot in combat because they are overpowered. So I think these are great, but they're situational because you'll only put them on a couple of your people. So in my opinion, the Steady Arm goes into B tier, and you know exactly who you want to use them on, but you probably don't have many people that you'll actually use them on. Last but not the least, we have Stealth Legs. Stealth Legs are once again situational because they boost their stealth by 25%, right? And if you really want to go play as a thief, same as with the Thief Arm, you might want to use these. Most people will be able to learn or level up their stealth with no issues very fast. I've shown in my Fishimon series how to do it in like a day. I got it to what, 70, 80, something like that. So it's really easy to level up, and you'll never really use these. So in my opinion, these are extremely situational. If you really want to boost your stealth even more, you know, you might want to use one, or in my opinion, they're more useful when you can't find any of these top three. So your choice would be between a stealth one or economy one, because these still give you 170 HP, so you know it's a boost on, you know, regular limbs for most people, and they give you at master grade the whole 4% athletics. So you know what, even at least a bit, just making it a little bit faster is still better than, you know, making you slower. But I don't think the Stealth Legs can be anywhere above a C. And here we go, boys. There's a ranking. I'm sure there's gonna be people here that will disagree with me, and I hope there's gonna be people who will agree with me. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? What should be S tier? What should be F tier? What did I mess up over here? And as I said, this is quite personal. What do you prefer more? Would you rather go with 2 Klr Arms? Or would you go with 1 Industrial Lifter and 1 Skeleton Arm, right? But with some less HP there. Let me know in the comments what you think. Otherwise, I have ranked many more things, so you can check all those down below, or check out some of my streams, because I stream Kenshi 2 or 3 times per week, and we have a lot of fun, and it's very modded, so we use even better limbs than this. For now, thank you for watching.